they had a bunch set like inside, and then they broke off and went outside. And I was like, why is there an offensive tackle going outside wide? What are they doing? Oh, it's Darnell.
Welcome to My God a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I review Georgia's 49-3 season opening win over Oregon in the Chick-fil-A kickoff. We talk about the tailgating scene around the bends, how much fun we had getting to meet some of you, and of course the game itself. As always, remember to check out store.mygodapodcast.com to see our latest merch, and you can follow us on social media at My God a Podcast. Finally, we'd love for all of you to come join us at Dog Central. That's DAWGScentral.com. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. So it definitely went better than expected. Definitely, I mean, especially for me. I know you were even more confident than I was, but like, I'm assuming it was still a bigger beatdown even than you thought, right?
Yes. I mean, obviously, my score prediction had them putting up a little bit more of a fight, but I don't even remember what my score prediction was. But I certainly did not expect us to virtually shut them out.
Yeah.
Which I think if everybody were to run around the tailgate on Saturday, which we need to talk about that, obviously. If you were running around the tailgate and take a poll, like, hey, who here thinks that Oregon's only going to get 3 points today? I would be like that, like 80%, 80-90% of them would have said, no way, dude.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I know like we did talk about like that the whole predicted score thing, right? Had them in the 20s, and we thought that was high. But man, I didn't expect 3. Okay, so I looked it up. You had 45-18, so you're pretty close on our score. I had us 34-17. I had us 34-17, so way far exceeded my expectations. But yeah, I guess we could have. Maybe we could have just led with the day a bit, because it was a great day. So you were able to make it for the tailgate at least.
I was hopeful.
Yes.
And it was a game time decision. There was much negotiating in my family and in relation to it. I think that my wife wasn't too sure about me taking any of the kids down there, but at the end of the day, we had a great time. Took my teenager down, just me and her. We both have. I don't know if you know this, Jim, but we have a birthday coming up here next week. We both have the same birthday, September 8th. So I kind of pitched it like that.
Nice. Well done. Well played. It was cool too because you had said on the show that you were doubtful. I guess I think we had a pretty low percentage chance. It's funny. Just like I ran into people that listen, right, and we're like, "Oh, so I guess John's not here," and I was like, "No, he is here." We were over at Greg's when we were over at Greg's tailgate. So shout out to Greg. ATD tailgate delivered again. Great time was had.
I said I was Greg and Rodeo Dog and all those guys.
I love that.
Yeah. And Carter has joined the podcast. Amazing. It was a great time. It was a great time. I'm glad we got to meet up. We had the like texting each other, and then we were like right next to each other, trying to go from one tailgate to the next. When I was in tailgate transition. So I started out the morning over at the Players Lounge. I got to do the Dog Central live show, for about, I don't know, I was on about 10-15 minutes with Graham and John, and Josh was producing that. So that was a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of folks over there. Then headed on over to Greg's, met a lot of people there. Had my dad with me, my sister, my nephew. It was a big time. So yeah, and
are you sure that
held off, right? The weather holding off was awesome because like there was all that rain in the forecast and not a drop.
It did hold off. I was impressive. I will get to the weather part in a second because you weren't there for the significant weather event.
Okay.
I was going to say, are you sure we shouldn't categorize this as Fripp Dog? Had you with him?
That is
because
fair. That is
everybody's like, I'm Fripp Dog. Oh, your dad's Fripp Dog.
True. Always happens. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Yeah, everyone's like, "I love your dad." I was like, "I love my dad too. He's pretty awesome."
My
Uh,
dad's great.
it
Yeah,
was a
it
good
was
time.
good. It was a great time. I probably could have gotten there for the Dog Central thing had I not brought my teenager. I will say that.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
I
yeah.
came downstairs ready to go, and she was literally laying on the couch in pajamas and a Georgia shirt, and was like, I think I might want to go. And I was like, well, I'm leaving, so you need to get ready. So that put me about 45 minutes behind schedule.
All good, all good. It was pretty amazing. My nephew, when we got there, like hopped on the Discord server for the DGD Mafia, was all over that, and because they were posting updates throughout the day on like what players were there and etc. So we were actually had left, and then my nephew was like, "Todd Gurley's here! Todd Gurley's here!" So we turned around and went back, and got to meet Todd. So yeah, man, met Todd Gurley, Keith Marshall,
That's
Mohamed
awesome.
Massaquoi, who else? Marlo Herrera, Tavares King, and like I'll just say like all of them were incredibly nice. Like it was everything you would kind of hope it to be. Just super nice,
Yeah,
talkative, humble, gracious, all those things. Kind of made you feel good to be a Georgia Bulldog. And like those guys definitely represent well for Bulldog Nation. So that was really cool. That was really cool.
that's awesome, man. I'm super jealous. Did you guys get autographs or anything like that, or?
No, no, I actually really didn't get my picture taken with many people. We did, like, we got my nephew's picture with pretty much everyone. Um, we got a picture with Keith Marshall. We got a big family picture with Todd Gurley. But that was it. Just kept it casual. I don't know. Like, I guess I feel like I'm kind of old now. I'm never sure. Like, is this weird if I ask for a picture? And we were just kind of hanging out talking. So I did. We talked to Massaquoi was very encourageable about the podcast because I had the hat on and everything, so he was interested to talk about that. So that was pretty cool. Like I said, man, yeah, everyone's super nice and engaging. That was pretty fun. And I
Right.
think the same can be said about Bobby Wilson and everyone at the tailgate at ATD.
Yeah. Um, yeah, man, it was great. The weather, I will say, like we mentioned the weather after everybody left. I mean, it was pretty windy, I feel like, in general, but like after everybody left, there were gusts of wind that
Mm,
literally took out a couple of tents at the tailgate. So that was interesting for the parking lot crew to fix and adjust. But all was
yeah,
good. Everything was resolved.
nice. Yeah, I remember I got a text from you in the middle of the game that like the antenna was blown over or something, right?
Well, the tent
Yeah,
flipped, which literally ripped out the antenna from the TV, and the TV fell.
gotcha.
But I guess it was fine because we got it all back up. Everything seemed like it was fine, but put it all back together, and everything went continued without a hitch. But yeah, dude, that was a little crazy because I wasn't even paying attention. Like when it happened, I was like talking to someone, and my daughter goes, "Oh dad, oh dad, oh dad."
So it sounds like to me the weather kind of came through the tailgate like the Georgia defense came through Oregon.
Yes, yes, Jim. The swirling winds were an impact in the game. I laughed a little too hard when you texted that.
Oh man. So all right, like when I like so like stats wise, it would be like one of those like ESPN stats and info things that like I don't know like when's the last time Georgia scored a touchdown on their first 7 possessions? I mean
Dude, seriously,
like
that was.
absolute domination on both sides of the ball. It was unbelievable.
I mean, it was pretty much 100% efficiency, right? Like I think we only had one punt, right?
Yeah, and it was glorious, by the way. Which we can get that. Go ahead and get that out of the way because that was actually one of the funnier Twitter interactions that I thought we had. Because we finally get to see our Aussie punter, and then he rips off. I believe it was. I'm just doing this from memory. I'm not looking up the stat. although I have the stats in front of me. I believe it was a 53-yard punt, from what I can remember, which was pretty awesome. And then, so right after we hit the punt, we tweeted something out from the account, and James, this is Jimmy Duncan. He has submitted some questions before, but he said this is a punt in a Crocodile D accent is what he tweeted, which was, I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, seriously, that's not a punt. This is a punt.
exactly. You did it much better than I did with the actual accent. So yeah, that's exactly how that felt. So hey, Aussie punter, one punt, boomed it. So shout out Brett Thorson. That was pretty awesome, and he got like mugged on the sideline when he came back to the sideline by the whole team. So that's pretty cool.
No offense, Mr. Thorson. I hope that we never see you play.
Right, seriously, dude. How about that though? I mean, because like that was one of the things you said, right? We're like, hopefully the punting's not going to matter because we're not going to really punt. I mean, one punt, like I didn't expect that to actually happen. That was
seriously.
That was cool. But like, I mean, can we finally put the mailman stuff to bed? Like, I know we've done it. You and I have for a while, but there have been some who keep wanting to say these things. I mean, he had an incredible performance. He did everything you would want. Like just statistically, 25 of 31, 368 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty dang good. And he had whatever you want to call it, like Johnny Manziel type moment, Heisman moment, whatever, on the touchdown pass to Ladd McConkey, where he's had all day. Which, by the way, that's another thing, right? The offensive line looked incredible. He had all day for the most part, not a whole lot of pressure, running around, switched the ball into his left hand so he wouldn't get stripped, put it back in his right hand and threw it to wide open McConkey, which you couldn't see it on TV as the play was unfolding from our seats. We could see like McConkey was like literally waving his hands because he was standing there wide open, and then Mailman was able to buy enough time to get it out to him. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy. I saw the replay. Obviously, with the TVs and all that stuff, and not to mention like all the extracurriculars that goes on in the parking lot and stuff, I wasn't quite as attuned. Not to mention some of the liquid, the liquid lubrication that was going on. So I did not notice that on the broadcast. However, I did see on the replay, like they actually showed a replay of that exact play, and he was like, it was on the bottom of the screen, and he was just like, just stand right here and wait, Although I will say, I think if John tweeted about that, like that, if we were picking nits or whatever, if he had to do that over again, Kirby probably would have preferred that he threw it to I think it was McIntosh that was coming out in the flat right there. Had he just like tossed it a little, let him a little bit, he probably runs that into the corner of the end zone. Because there's just little things, if you got a nitpick over a 40 something point win, right. that's a good position. That's a good position to be in. I'll give another one. Speaking of Ladd McConkey, I feel like it was the exact same play it was the exact same position on the field. It looked like it was the exact same play. We could probably ask Graham to take a look at it, but I believe that he threw a deep ball to Ladd McConkey, or was trying to throw a deep ball to Ladd McConkey, similar to the throw that he made to A.D. Mitchell. They obviously didn't need a touchdown, but it looked like it was the exact same play. But man, he overthrew Ladd bad. Ladd was wide open on that play too, and he missed him.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I have a feeling that there's still going to be some Stetson haters out there on just those things alone. Like, it's unfortunate that we have that fan base that's out there that still doubts Stetson, even though he's shown way more than should be required to give him your trust.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, that just kind of is what it is. But he had a heck of a day, and even just like watching kind of like the shows afterwards and stuff, like watching the SEC Network this morning. they were pretty much saying the same thing. It's time to give him his due. So, but I do think like what the things you were just going through, like those are the things that Kirby's going to be doing too, right? Because like you kind of say,
Mm-hmm.
you're never as bad as you think you are after a loss, and you're never as good as you think you are after a win. So I'm sure he's going to find plenty of things to show them that they could do better, because that's what coaches do, right? They want to kind of they are kids, and although I mean Stetson's getting up there, I don't know if Stetson's still a kid anymore, but. Um, but yeah, so
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure, I'm sure the coaches will be doing that. I don't know, I guess other things that stood out to me, like Kenny McIntosh was the leading pass catcher. I mean, he had a heck of a day. He looked awesome. Um, okay, so he was targeted 9 targets, 9 receptions for 117 yards. That's pretty incredible. Um,
Yeah,
wow.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that he's definitely going to be a weapon. It's a little concerning on the running side of the ball, like that he wasn't more like that he didn't have such better stats than you'd
Mhm.
like to have your starting running back, because he only ran the ball 5 times for 18 yards, 3.6 yards a carry. I mean, he did have a touchdown. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is for him at running back. Like, obviously, it just seems like that he's just going to be a weapon out in the passing game, which is fine.
Yeah.
That just means that if he's not going to be a feature back in terms of the rushing game, I'm worried about the longevity of Milton. Which, to his credit, like he looked good,
He did look good.
for coming off like a for getting banged up and losing some of those snaps. Like he looked good. So kudos
Yeah.
to him. The emergence of Dejan Edwards, and then Branson Robinson got some time in at the end of the game. The game
Yeah.
was well in hand, but he was averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Like he had the bigger average across the board. So, yeah, uh, uh, yeah. The receiving game. To be fair, um, he did spray the ball around to all of the different receivers.
Exactly. Um, I was just counting up 10 different receivers caught a pass.
I was just about to say, how are you counting?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh
Yeah, I
man,
was
can
counting.
we?
Yeah. So
I also want to call out in terms of the receiving game. I'll call out Darnell Washington. Um,
yeah.
dude, that guy is just an absolute problem out as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I remember there was one point when I was watching the review, or watching the recording. Um, they had a bunch set like inside, and then they broke off and went outside, and I was like, why is there an offensive tackle going outside wide? What are they doing? Oh, it's Darnell.
That's
Silly
amazing.
me.
That's incredible. Yeah, man. I mean, spread the ball around. The tight ends. I mean, they delivered. Like, and here's the thing too. Like, you know, tight ends are there to catch passes, but they're also there to block, and they were all blocking incredibly well. And I'll include Arik Gilbert in that, and I'll include Oscar Delp in that as well. Saw some incredible blocks, and I feel like Marcus Rosemary-Jack Saint picked up where he left off as far as blocking goes. Like the kind of last thing we remember of him from the national championship game is the ceiling block on the Brock Bowers touchdown towards the end of the game. And I mean, he was leveling guys again. So he looked good. Also looking good out there in the number one. Rosemary Jack Saint changed numbers. Only one catch for 12 yards, but I thought he looked good. Our guy Kieras didn't get into like the passing game super involved until later in the game, but ended up with 3 catches for 45 yards. And AD Mitchell, I think, looked every bit the part that we were hoping he would. That touchdown catch. First, I mean, the amazing throw from Stetson is the back shoulder fade. I mean, I don't, like Aaron Murray and Fromm were known for doing that here at Georgia. I don't know that either of them could have thrown a prettier ball or a better placed ball than Stetson did there. And then great catch by AD. So I'm sure we're forgetting something, but I mean, what an offensive performance. I had kind of talked preseason, like, were we overthinking it and trying to talk about the offense too much when really this was just going to be, you know, it's a Kirby Smart team, therefore great defense. And the defense did live up to what we hoped it would and then some, but the offense it's improved.
Yeah, I would say that having a full off season with Stetson as the starter, getting all the number one snaps, like they came out and I mean, you can't ask for much better than 100% touchdown ratios, 100% in the red zone. Like you, if
Yeah.
we go if we go the entire season and have 7 straight possessions every game and we're scoring touchdowns, we are going to absolutely steamroll this entire college football world. It'll be epically better than LSU.
Right. Right. Yeah, it was impressive. And I think we did see we were I say I was repeating what Graham had said, but as far as the starting offensive line that kind of panned out how we would thought with Truss at left guard, but we saw a lot of rotation there. I know Willock did get in, and I saw Mims in there as well, so they got in like the backup line, so a lot of guys got good quality reps. um,
Yeah, there's the only thing that only all right. So I'll give you like my surprise from just the offensive perspective. I have a surprise. Like I was very surprised at how little we tried to throw the ball to Arik. Like I kind of thought that there was going to be more involvement of him in the offense. Not saying that that's good or bad, or maybe it's this game or that game, but like I was caught off guard by the fact that he didn't have a single catch in the game. So
I would agree. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, he was only targeted one time. Looking at
right,
the stats that UGA threw out there, so I would agree. I would definitely agree.
yep,
And he came out there. I would think he came into the game later, I guess, than I would have expected too. So
correct, yep. I'm trying to think if there's any. Dajon Edwards didn't come in and get meaningful snaps until feel like the game was beyond him, or
no,
beyond
you,
us or whatever, or beyond them.
you gotta rewatch it. He was in there early.
Okay,
He was in there in the
maybe
first
that was
quarter.
just he was okay. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, he had 4 carries, so he must not have been in there that much.
he was in. Yeah, no, but he was there. And he also had two catches. So yeah, he definitely. I felt like Edwards. I would say I felt like. I mean, he played the traditional kind of Georgia third back, right? Like we kind of run those three guys. I
Yeah,
mean, he's not in there as much as Milton um, and McIntosh were, but I feel like he kind of played the traditional role of the third Georgia tailback. But yeah, definitely agree on Arik. Thought we would see more from him earlier. I don't know if that says anything or not. Like if there's anything to read into that or what. I mean, he's working his way back in. Didn't play last year, so we'll see.
the snap counts for Edwards is actually like he actually played less than Arik, which that's why I say that. Like when I'm looking at the snap counts and going back to how I felt about things, like he only had 12. He was only in on 12 snaps, and Arik was in on 13. So I don't know.
Okay.
That was my only surprise.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Maybe just on the volume. I just remember like my dad pointing out to me early in the game, like, "Whoa, Edwards is already in there, somewhere pretty early." So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go back
Interesting.
and watch it yet again because I have already rewatched the game once. I watched it this morning. I have
Right,
to go look for
right,
that.
right.
Cool.
It's funny though because you talk about that. I think one of the things that I can't remember what Oregon player it was or where I saw this, um, but I guess what Oregon was saying, like they don't have second string players. They just have other players.
I saw. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Uh, but don't tell
And
Achilles
it is
Smith
an
that
embarrassment. Just
it is. Yeah, yeah. Don't tell Achilles Smith that we have better players though, because he'll get mad. I don't
yeah,
know what that guy's deal
seriously,
is.
dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know how anybody that like follows football can look at the recruiting rankings over the last 5-6 years or whatever since Kirby got to Georgia and can with a straight face say that we don't have better players. Like really, he didn't.
Yeah, like
I feel like yeah, they were taking that as like a personal slight at the manhood of the players at Oregon, and I feel like that was just ridiculous.
Yeah, trying to make something out of nothing. I mean, yeah. And like, did you
Yeah,
watch the game?
exactly.
Like, yeah, Georgia has better players. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, we were shedding blocks, we were hurdling people. Like, our 300-pound tight end is hurdling your guys. Like, come on now.
Seriously, seriously. So on the defensive side, I think so. So we did see Smile London start at linebacker. That's what we had kind of questioned and talked about. What we didn't talk about was Michael Williams getting the start, which um, we can't go by an episode without saying something like, if you subscribe to Duck Central, that actually Jason posted that the morning before the game. So that was out there. So just another plug there. You can get great information like that. Could have known that heading into the game. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, played a lot of young guys, and then Malachi Starks. Holy cow! Like the pick that he had was just a beautiful play that happened kind of in front of us. I tweeted out from the podcast account. Holy and thanks. Shout out Coach Drillbill for quote tweeting it and just saying sorry, Carter. So amen. That was
Yeah, that was great. Thanks for that, Coach Trill. I was giggling a good bit on that one. Yeah, dude, that was a great play. I mean, I feel like that when that happened, I was like, "Oh snap, this is about to go down. Like we're about to really, we're about to destroy these guys." It was at that moment they realized that, or I realized that they were in way over their head.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it I don't know. Like the things, at least for the first game, played out kind of like we hoped they would. Right, where you had Jamon Dumas Johnson, I think did step into that kind of like inside linebacker leadership role. Um, Played really well. I think also too, like the safeties did step up and help with the tackling. I mean, Christopher Smith was also flying around the field. I mean, he laid some hits in this game that I don't think I've ever seen him do that before.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. There was a play specifically, and I feel like it was on third down or something like that. A running back took a handoff, or it was a pitch or something like that, but he was in the open field and he was with nothing but green grass in front of him. There's a huge gap. All he had to do was run north and south, and it was going to be a big gain. But Christopher Smith, his closing speed on that running back was absolutely elite. That was another one of those plays that literally jumped off the page at me. Was like, holy cow, I have not seen that before. So yeah, kudos to him on that. But like, man, he literally turned that play into like a 4-yard loss, and I was like, oh crap, here we go.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of reminded me of, like, I know different position and everything, but the closing speed reminded me of Nakobe Dean's play in the Orange Bowl where he ran down the running back against Michigan. Like what Christopher Smith, I feel like did something similar. And then big hit
Which is
on
crazy because he's coming from a deeper position.
exactly. And then he also laid a huge hit. Turned what probably should have been a huge gain into an incompletion. And that was the play that he got a little bit shook up on. But something happened, I think, with Ringo. They had a guy kind of running open down the field, and Bo Nix threw it inside, and Christopher Smith made him pay for it. So he looked great, but I mean, like all the young guys. I mean, for all the Georgia defense is going to take a step back, and they only allowed 3 points to the number 11 team in the country. So.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you just all you have to do is look at the snap counts. Malachi Starks, Kamari Lassiter, Keely Ringo, Christopher Smith, Smile Mondon, Jamon Dumas Johnson. Like those guys weren't on the roster last year, and they led the snap counts on the defense.
Yeah, Malachi Starks.
Well, obviously Chris Smith and Keely were, but most of those guys were not on the team.
Yeah, they certainly weren't playing significant snaps like that.
They weren't playing
right?
significant. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean,
exactly.
but Malachi Starks, true freshman, led the team in snap count. He played more plays than anyone, and he's a true freshman. Had that sensational interception, had another really nice pass breakup. Yeah, that was one of the things we were questioning, right? Who's going to be the starting safety over there alongside Christopher Smith? And it does look like the future is now with Malachi Starks.
The future is now. Yeah, for sure. We'll see how that progresses over the season. Obviously, as they play different teams and different defenses, but he had more than double the snaps that Dan Jackson had. So
Yep, yep, yep.
yeah,
Yeah, and honestly, like I thought Jackson looked good too. You know, I mean, like he looked good when he was in there. So,
I mean that's why you have these people saying that Georgia doesn't have a second string. They just have other players.
right, yeah, seriously. Okay, so I'm looking at the Georgia Dogs. They've got that Dan Jackson started. So I don't know. I guess Dan Jackson started the first series, but then Malachi Starks came in like right after that. That's interesting. Okay, see again. I got to go back and watch it again. So,
I
but,
mean, Malachi definitely on. I remember it was like in the third quarter or something like that. I remember distinctly looking out there. I was like, "Huh, Dan Jackson's not playing. Interesting."
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he looked good from the get go. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say? I don't know like really what else to say about it. I mean, it was, or at least about the defense specifically. I do have one other thing I wanted to go over, but it's you know it's a like,
I've
I think
got
that
something.
right. Like it's a Kirby Smart team, and the defense showed out like a Kirby Smart defense does. Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
Well, the only thing I would say, like, we're again picking nits on a 40+ point victory, but zero sacks,
Okay. Yeah.
and only 3 tackles for loss, which I feel like is partially like due to they were quickly trying to get the ball out. I don't think that Bo Nix didn't really have a whole lot of like.
Mhm.
It didn't feel like he had a whole lot of time, but like at the same time, it felt like that they were trying to get rid of the ball quickly. And you've also got that, that Bo Nix backyard football kind of situation. But yeah,
Yeah.
zero sacks, only 3 tackles for loss. I'm sure that Kirby's not happy with that.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't have much to add there. I was gonna say I think you're right. I think everyone had been wondering could Dan Lanning help scheme something up to help the offense out and like score a lot of points. I think he did do some things to help out scheme wise, getting rid of the ball quickly to prevent those types of plays. But it didn't help him on the scoreboard there. So
Yeah.
yeah, ultimately, what I texted out was that Dan Lanning he wasn't able to scheme anything up to win, but he was able to scheme up some things to help them lose less bad. So
I think the only other thing that I noticed, and this is partially from the broadcast side of things, like on the TV, there was we were averaging like 9, like this was in the second quarter, so this was when it was still competitive ish. Yeah, we were averaging 9 yards per play, like almost 10 yards per play, which is just crazy. Like you're never going to win a game if you are playing a team that's operating at that level.
yeah, yeah, it was a beatdown. It was just a pure domination, and I think for all the people that were hopeful for the Georgia was going to be taking a step back and in this rebuilding mode, they found out on Saturday.
Yeah, I believe it's the largest. It's the largest margin of victory versus a top 10 opponent or something like that.
Mm, man, that was huge. I did want to acknowledge the Georgia like game preview thing did come out after we recorded. As I was saying, I didn't have that. I had missed something. I had said I think that Georgia had only played in this game once. We had played in it twice, and thankfully this one wasn't like that one. I forgot the Boise State game in the old Georgia Dome. That was part of the Chick-fil-A kickoff. I'd forgotten that. So acknowledge a mistake I made there. And then I did want to. So this is hilarious. We always say that we're not going to track our coaches over unders picks, but Coach tracked them and he sent them to me. So I won't go line by line, but overall, I went 5-3 on coaches over unders, and you went 6-2. So you got the better of me. That was pretty funny. I do know it does look like, though, I will say, apparently we hit the over hit on mentions of the fact that Dan Lanning coached at Georgia. So I think that the over 5.5 hit there. So that's pretty funny.
What else we got?
I don't think I've got anything else. Like I said, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. I got to spend it with my family, with my extended family. Also, like this was pretty funny. I went and spent halftime with Hunter. Went up and met up with Hunter, and like while we were talking, out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone that I recognized. It's like a woman who teaches with Kim at the middle school in Concord. Just totally out of the blue, ran into her at halftime. And that wouldn't have happened had I not met up with Hunter. So that was pretty funny. And then also, we were sitting in our seats and we looked to our left and we saw like an entire family, some friends of ours that we spend time with down at Fripp all the time. That family, we saw they were all in the same row as us, just one section over. And when the stadium kind of started to clear out late in the game, they came and sat with us for the end of the fourth quarter. So that's pretty funny. It's just like small world kind of things, and like you're in Mercedes-Benz Stadium and running into having things like that pop up. It's hilarious.
That's funny. I didn't get to see Hunter, so I was a little bummed about that, Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter,
I'm a little jealous of you and your ability to pal around with Hunter during the game.
I was glad we were able to get that to work out. Well,
good stuff, man.
Yeah,
So what else do we got? We haven't even talked about the best part of the game.
Okay.
Do you know what the best part is?
Can I guess what it is? Do you want me to guess?
Yes.
See if I'm.
I want you to guess.
Okay. My guess is the fact that we had the moment where the opponent is just desperately trying to get into the end zone against our backups, and they couldn't do it late in the game. Is that it?
That's a great one, because I appreciated that text. Like we've reached the point. We've reached the point of desperation where we're trying to get a touchdown on the board. That's a great moment. No, my personal favorite moment of the game was when Kirby Smart's son was dancing around behind his dad in the post-game interview. That was the best. You texted me that. I hadn't seen it, so like when I was watching the replay, I had a huge laugh, and like I thought it was just like he did it really quickly. No, he came back multiple times. It was a total Carter. It was a total Carter move.
It was awesome. I love that kid, man. He is hilarious. Like he's living it up. He's like the gift that keeps on giving. Even with gifts, we made a gift of that. But yeah, no, you're totally right. When I was watching it unfold the first time I saw it, it's like, oh look, there's Kirby's son. He's kind of like he's waving at the camera, and then he leaves, and then he comes back, and he just keeps doing it. That was awesome. Good call. Good call. I am very glad that we didn't hang up and have the oh shoot, we forgot to talk about Kirby's kid moment. So thank you for hitting that.
Yes. There's Kirby's kid, and then you had what was it? Was it Payne Stewart? I think it was. That was laughing around with the leather helmet on. Like that was great too. One thing that I do. I'm not so sure. Again, like the 40 points, picking Nicks, picking Nicks. That was funny. Picking nits. Our short yardage defense, I feel like, is something that if I were Kirby Smart, this is something that we probably need to work on. We had multiple like third down or fourth down in short yardage situations that they were able to get pretty easily, particularly running it up the gut. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just that for me was just like a watch this space. I'd like to see how that develops over time, but you know, they didn't really have to stop them, obviously, but like I would have preferred that they had stopped them.
Yeah, no, that's one of those things where like when you're in the heat of the moment in the game, like I was definitely like, oh, come on, guys! Like they couldn't get off the field those couple of
Yeah,
times. I definitely know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. And yeah, it is
yeah,
picking nits, but like again, right? Like that's totally what Kirby's going to do. Like he's going to show them those plays and be like, "How did you not stop them?" or whatever. You know, like because he wants perfection. I mean, you know, there were definitely some Kirby moments on the sideline where he was going nuts. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if I've sent you this one yet. Like when Bo Nix did the quick kick, Kirby was like freaking out on the sideline, trying to tell the defense that he was going to punt, that Bo was going to punt, and he was like pantomiming like he's about to punt to the defense. So that happened,
hmm
and then late in the game, the moment I was talking about, when Oregon was trying to score and we had all the backups in, you know, I mean, like Kirby had them all huddled up, and like he was going crazy. Um, you know, again, trying to get those backups to do their job. Like those are big moments, right? Like I think back to 2017 when Monty Rice made like that fourth down tackle against Mississippi State to keep them out of the end zone. It's awesome when you've got young guys being able to come in and have a moment like that, even with the game not on the line, but to like, you know, to keep that end zone perfection. I think it's a big moment for them.
yeah. He's gonna be trying to instill that fight for even the backup. So that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, I don't have anything else. I don't have anything else. Stetson Bennett for Heisman. I guess we haven't really talked about his straight up line. Like, I mean, 25 or 31 for 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Had a quarter QBR rating of 97. Um, I believe that those are his yardage at least are that's a personal best for him, particularly as it pertains to a win. If I remember correctly.
I mean, I think it's fair to say this was the best game he's ever played at Georgia. Will you agree?
Yeah, he looked really good. The 80 Mitchell touchdown pass was phenomenal. I'll be honest, like when we were watching him in the replay, when I was watching him in the replay, like there were multiple points where I was like, man, dude, he's hit the gym. Like we talked about that in the off season or whatever, like that we had heard. We saw the pictures of Staquavius and saw some pictures of him from camp and whatnot, but like actually watching him play, like sitting there watching him in the interviews, like he's bulked up, like he's approaching this like he should be, which is
Yeah,
taking his opportunity by the reins.
he looked every bit the part of a starting SEC quarterback and returning national champion, and I think it's time everyone starts treating him like it. So
Amen.
cool. All right, man.
Cool.
Well,
Huh?
I know we will be. Oh, did you have something? I was just gonna give the usual like we'll be back to talk about Sanford, but did you have something else?
No, I don't. We heard. Only thing I'll say is, we're talking about the snap counts. If you're curious about what those look like, head on over to Dog Central. That's where we're pulling all the information from the ever wonderful John Tweet Sports. He was able to put that out pretty quickly for the folks the day after the game. So good work, John.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's. I was pouring through that this morning. It's pretty cool. Cool, man. Well, yeah. So it started off the season in a big way. We will be back to give an in-depth, deep dive analysis of the Samford Bulldogs later this week, uh, and we'll definitely be soliciting your questions for that episode. So, with that,
Absolutely. Yep. Hey man, this was great. Fun to see you as always, and we'll see you next time. Go Dogs.
go dogs.